What the hell is that?
The greatest Christmas gift come early! White chocolate peppermint, the greatest damn bar in existence!
You bought an entire box of it?
No, come on, no! I bought a truck.
Dude.
But don't worry about that right now.
I'm having a hard time not.
Today we need to talk about Sword Art Online Lost Song.
Once in my dreams I was hands-on. No matter how I'm knocked around or beaten down, I will stand up restored. All of my love has yet to wake. I know your strength is what I lack. You've got my back, and now that I've got yours, I have you to thank for lighting up the dark. Because you're here with me.
Sword Art Online is a phenomenal anime series that I fell in love with 2 seconds into watching it. It reminded me a lot of Dot Hack with the theme of real-world dangers in a virtual reality, but this felt faster and more intriguing to me. It's hard to explain, but I'll do my best to summarize the story. If you haven't watched Sword Art Online and Sword Art Online 2, I encourage you to watch it before I carry on with the synopsis for the series. Kirito and many other gamers are locked into a game called Sword Art Online, and you can only escape if they die or beat the game. The catch is, of course, if you die in the game, you die in real life. So it's a fight against the clock to defeat the game before their bodies cripple away in the real world. Kirito meets a young girl named Asuna. They inevitably fall in love and have a child of their own. Well, the child is an AI program that calls them mother and father. They continue to care for her as if she was their own child. Kirito manages to defeat the big boss of the game and escape with Asuna. However, Asuna didn't come out of the game. She's stuck in another online server called Alfheim. Kirito must travel into the game world again to free her from her enslavement. He manages to do such with the help of his daughter returning to the world as a navigator of sorts. With Asuna returned to them, they begin their own adventures as a real-life couple and go on quests within the game, one of which is my favorite tale, the Sleeping Knights. They meet a group of very sick children that can only be normal and interact in the gaming world. Asuna helps one girl live in the real world by means of a device Kirito has been developing that bridges the gap between virtual and the reality world itself. This game, as I know, has nothing to do with this second part or Sword Art Online 2. I know it's the third in the gaming series, and it's considered an alternate timeline to the ending of the first Sword Art Online, where Kirito defeats the boss of the game that they're stuck in that will kill them. Has nothing to do with Alfheim, which I think is enough for me, at least getting started. I don't know there was a PSP version, I didn't know there was a Vita version. I'm hoping it won't interfere with the experience too much for me. But this is an alternate timeline. Picks up after Kirito defeats the first boss, like I said, when he's trapped in the game. Apparently the game never let them out. In the anime they did, but in this, they didn't get let out. At least in the first game. Like I said, my knowledge is pretty limited, and I kind of want to keep it that way. But that's all I know, and honestly all I want to know. I'm curious to see from an outsider's perspective for the first time playthrough of what I initially think about this standalone title. By the way, pre-ordering this game at GameStop got me this freaking awesome art book. I absolutely adore the art style of the anime, and this is really cool to check out. Well done, GameStop. I approve of you and this. Not so much you, but this I approve of. Yeah. The game style looks absolutely phenomenal. I like how games have really been able to capture anime with a mix of cell shading or whatever they're doing. I don't know if it's a cell shading, but it looks great. Unfortunately, the dialogue between the characters is mostly still images. I'm sure it was a cheaper way to play cross dialogue, but it would be nice if they were at least animated. I mean, some of these are so awkward where you have a still image and an animated character behind them conversing. I don't know, it looks off. The opening exposition by Kirito and Leafa is Kirito's sister in real life, explains that they have logged on, so I'm assuming they made it out of Sword Art Online at some point during the last 2 games, but now there's a new expansion released and they're ready to play. One thing that I can say is charming in its own unique way is how they explain the game. It doesn't feel out of place like other games. These kids are technically playing a game themselves, so it would make sense for them to talk about how to play. I like that, that's kind of clever. The controls are pretty easy to figure out. I unfortunately went through the optional tutorial at the beginning of the game. It does help, but it drags for a little longer than I would like. I mean, come on! I know how to move! I especially love how they explain how you should keep an eye on your stamina, and it will run out quickly! but it fills up fast, so you shouldn't worry about it. The combat is pretty simplistic. Everything from dodging and blocking to flying and using your specials is easily implemented for quick execution. When flying, you can lock onto enemies, but this is more of a nuisance than an advantage in combat. The camera does sort of lock onto the enemy, but it also pulls you under the character or wherever it wants to go. Your character is technically still locked on them, but the camera doesn't exactly know where to go. So, knowing when to dodge and block is more difficult than it should be, although a lot of enemies do telegraph their attacks if you see it coming. But like I said, that camera's kind of a bitch, so it's hard to see it coming. Flying is way fun. I thought it looked kind of slow, but no, I have a lot of fun flying around the area looking for locations, but the cutscenes are freaking cheap. For instance, there's a moment when you have to search a house for clues. So 3 separate icons pop up around the house, you observe them, and then find a key on the 3rd search. The characters speak to each other about opening the door and looking inside for the item they were looking for instead of showing it. I feel like I'm playing a text adventure. Anyone remember that shit? Text adventures? No? Shit was awesome. This isn't awesome. But in all fairness, the more I play this game, I begin to realize this wasn't meant to be a PS4 title. It's a Vita game, it's a portable game, and plays as such. This is a port from the mobile experience, and it certainly feels like it. The dungeons and quests are very short enough to play in small spurts and put away until you're ready to play again, like you would want with any sort of adventure title. So, if you're expecting something grand and huge like the anime, I think you're going to be disappointed in this title, but that's not what's appealing to me. Honestly, it's another story for a great anime, and if you like Sword Art Online, you'll enjoy this for all the characters coming back. At least that's what I truly am enjoying about it, while I wait ever so impatiently for Sword Art Online 3. I've noticed some liberties with the alternate universe, such as Suguha, or Lifa, I can't pronounce Suguha, whatever her real name is, was a part of the original Sword Art Online entrapment. She wasn't involved at all in the anime until the Alfheim arc. There are some other elements I assume from the older games I don't quite recognize. I don't know who Argo, Straya, or Ophelia are, but they don't seem to really contribute much other than just being back for another adventure, so that doesn't deter from the game like I was worried it would. Being a different timeline from the anime isn't that distracting either. All the main cast was originally in SAO, which means the arc with Sinon and Kirito in Gun Gale never happened, or at least I presume it didn't. Yuki from the Sleeping Knights story also makes her first appearance in this game. With this being their first real adventure in the Alfheim story, there are some characters that have different interactions, such as Kirito never spanked the Salamander commander. Dude in combat, man, just wrecked his shit, and he never saved the leaders of the other clans. So when they all meet for the first time, it's very lighthearted in comparison. Early into the game, you're allowed to change out the characters for different costumes. That's a fun idea. I like different outfits for my favorite characters. If it wasn't for the fact it was a schoolgirl outfit, towels, and bikinis as your start off selection. Nice, Japan. Way to stay classy. Oh, and don't worry about the girls having boob physics. Just in case you were worried about that, they're here. Yep. Physics. But one I unlocked for Lifa I really liked. Also, Sinon and Kirito have their outfits from the Gun Gale Online saga, so that's a cool addition. You do unlock other characters as you play throughout the game, and it isn't until you complete the first part that you are at long last allowed to create your character. Yes! I can't... Holy limitations, Batman! Yeah, people weren't kidding about the lacking in this department. 2 options for hair, skin, and hair color. But don't you worry, fellow viewer, you get 3 voices to choose from. Oh yeah. But come on, this isn't what you want. You want the story and the characters and the heart. This game certainly has it in my opinion. Is it basic and somewhat bland? Absolutely. Is the combat repetitive and tedious? Sure, it can be. The flying mechanics can get janky at times, but overall this game is fantastic. One thing I do really like is the leveling system. You want to get stronger and better with your special attacks on a katana? Well, keep using it and you'll level up your katana skills. Your magic skills as well will level up the same way. To fight with your weapon, you press R1 to pull out or just start mashing the square button. However, when your weapon isn't drawn, pressing R1 will unveil the magic attacks. So you can imagine there are moments of frustration where I'm fighting an enemy and trying to pull out my sword, but I accidentally in the midst of battle heal my party. Or there are times where the enemies will just drop on you and you have to scramble to get away from their relentless beating. So when you look at the world of enemies, and you can kill 1 or 2 easily, don't get overconfident and charge out to the rest of them. It will not end well, I promise. I've only just started this game, and I've arrived at the desert location, but I feel completely engrossed in this game. At this point, at least, I really like this game and fully recommend you pick it up. But not for the retail price. If you can wait it out, I would. This game, I would say, is more of a $40 value, if that. With the shortcuts it takes, it's just not worth the full retail value. If it wasn't for being a Sword Art Online game, I doubt this would sell, in all honesty. I feel interested in picking up the first 2 games to see what else I've changed from the original story. Guess I gotta go find a Vita and a PSP now. Sweet. Real quick, before we get to all the closing announcements, I wanted to give a special thanks to Amanda Lee. All of her covers for Sword Art Online were used on today's episode. Here are 2 of my favorite, Overfly and Crossing Field. Funny story, I actually bought her English cover of Crossing Field prior to even starting this episode, and when I started working on it, I found out all her other covers, and just, freaking, her voice is phenomenal. Check out her YouTube, follow her Twitter, Facebook, support her, purchase her covers, guys. It's amazing. Let her know how great she is, and oh god, I can't, it's good stuff, man. Just listen. Like, comment, share, and subscribe. Hey guys, thanks for checking out another episode. Oh man, I've been looking forward to this game for about 2 weeks. That's when I found out it was coming out, and I like it. It's a good game. Hey, don't forget to check out Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr. By the way, quick note, the website is down. A lot of complicated stuff going on in the background. But we're trying to get the website back up and the webcomic's going again. So right now, Noctoons does not have a dedicated server, but that should be getting resolved in the future, and I will let you know when it is. Comment below. I want to hear what you guys think about the game. Maybe I sold you on it. Maybe I overpraised it. I don't know. But let me know. I want to hear what you guys have to say, and have a good one.